करेंगे practical. It is again from the same segment, organic synthesis, and we are going to synthesize a new drug today, or at least we are going to learn how to synthesize another drug molecule using simple reaction. So segment is again the same. No need to add a separator in the practical copy. The segment is organic synthesis, and in organic synthesis, it is practical number 2. Experiment number 2 is synthesis and qualitative analysis of acetaminophen. ठीक है, और आप में से काफी लोगों ने वीडियो व्यू कर ली होगी, आपने शायद प्रेजेंटेशन भी पढ़ ली हो. कैन यू टेल मी बेटा व्हाट इज acetaminophen? जी उस्मान.
पैरासीटामोल का मैम दूसरा नाम है.
ओके, पैरासीटामोल का केमिकल नेम इज
और ब्रांड नेम इसका पैनाडोल, कॉलपोल एंड सम अदर.
ओके फाइन, ठीक है. सो एनीवन एल्स बेटा हु कैन टेल अस व्हाई डू वी नीड टू प्रिपेयर पैरासीटामोल? व्हाट इज इट्स बेनिफिट? व्हाई डू वी यूज इट?
To lower temperature.
To control temperature. And what is the proper term for such drugs that are used to manage temperature, to control temperature?
Antipyretic.
Antipyretics, right. And what are the other uses of paracetamol? It is antipyretic, right? But if you don't have fever, what could be the other reason you're using the same drug?
मैम
एक बेटा आप रेज करेंगे हैंड. जी उमेमन.
मैम इट्स अ पेन किलर, पेन रिलीफ.
And what is the term used for painkillers beta?
Analgesics, ma'am.
Analgesics. Okay, so acetaminophen is paracetamol. Acetaminophen is basically the chemical name of paracetamol. Paracetamol is a well-known analgesic and antipyretic drug. Okay, it is not anti-inflammatory in nature. ठीक है, तो हम कह सकते हैं कि जो हमने लास्ट टाइम क्लास पढ़ी थी ड्रग्स की, NSAID, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. Panadol does not directly fall into that class because it is not anti-inflammatory agent. Aspirin, it has all three activities: analgesic, antipyretic, and anti-inflammatory activity. While paracetamol, it only has profound analgesic and antipyretic activity. And the fever may be of any origin. बुखार किसी भी वजह से हुआ हो, the medicine may be used to treat that fever. Similarly, pain, it may be muscular pain, it may be neuronal pain, any type, or joint pain. So paracetamol is useful for treating all types of pain. Even migraine is also sometimes managed using paracetamol. So if there is acute pain, if it is a chronic pain, pain associated with physical injury, pain associated with fever, pain associated with other symptoms, paracetamol can be used to alleviate the symptoms, to reduce the pain. Okay, now we will look at the chemical equation which is used to produce paracetamol or acetaminophen. Acetaminophen is produced from para-aminophenols. Now, para-aminophenol, it is a solid compound. It is a solid organic compound. And this compound, it cannot be consumed, although it has analgesic and antipyretic activity. Iski activity hai, but it cannot be consumed orally. The reason is the health hazard associated with the use of this substance. You already know this symbol. ठीक है, अगर आप पैरामाइनोफिनॉल की बोतल के ऊपर देखेंगे तो ये सिंबल ड्रॉ हुआ हुआ है, which means it cannot be ingested. Okay, आपकी बॉडी को इसका limited exposure even can lead toward the chronic symptoms, mutations, and other organ damage. Similarly, it is an irritant and also it is a biohazard. Okay, it cannot be discarded in the aquatic environment. So the precursor that is used for synthesis of paracetamol, although it has analgesic and antipyretic activity, weak analgesic and antipyretic activity. It is not used therapeutically because of the health hazard associated with ingestion. Therefore, this precursor, it is needed to be converted into a much safer form. And the approach that was used to enhance the safety at the same time maintaining the analgesic and antipyretic effects was acetylation. So para-aminophenol upon treatment with acetic anhydride and water, instead of water we can also use any acid, any other acid, inorganic acid. We can use HCl, we can use phosphoric acid, only few drops. So para-aminophenol upon treatment with acetic anhydride and water results in N-acetylation, acetyl group being added at this N-terminal. It results in producing aceta, this aceta for this acetyl group, amino, and the rest of the moiety is phenol, phen, acetaminophen. So para-aminophenol, because of acetylation, results in formation of acetaminophen, paracetamol, which is a much much safer analgesic and antipyretic agent. And if it is used in a recommended way, if its dose is not increased to the toxic level, the drug maintains producing its effect without causing any side effects. आप देखेंगे कि कुछ लोग पैरासिटामोल को बड़ा हैबिचुअली यूज करते हैं, आज सर में दर्द है तो आज भी किया, कल भी, इवन डे में 2-3 बार भी किया. So the drug is very safe for consumption unless the doses are not increased to the toxic level. Medicinal uses. Paracetamol is beneficial for its analgesic, pain-killing properties, and pain may be of any origin, like I told you earlier. It is useful as antipyretic. It is used to reduce fever. The dose actually determines if this drug would be toxic or not. ठीक है, तो डोज डिसाइड करती है कि पैरासिटामोल जो है वो अपना थेराप्यूटिक इफेक्ट ज्यादा प्रोफाउंड शो करेगी या उसके टॉक्सिक इफेक्ट्स एक्सपीरियंस होंगे. सो ड्रग बिलो 4000 mgs, यानी अगर आप दिन में 4000 मिलीग्राम से नीचे नीचे पैरासिटामोल लेते हैं, इट इज सेफ. ओके, इट डज नॉट प्रोड्यूस एनी सॉर्ट ऑफ साइड इफेक्ट. इसका कोई भी साइड इफेक्ट अपीयर नहीं होता. आफ्टर 4000 mg अगर ज्यादा टैबलेट्स ली जाएं तो इट रिजल्ट्स इन प्रोड्यूसिंग टॉक्सिक सिम्टम्स. नाउ वन थिंग आई वुड लाइक टू मेंशन हियर, आपने कभी नहीं सुना होगा कि पैरासिटामोल की वजह से किसी की डेथ हुई. ठीक है, ये पैरासिटामोल की वजह से किसी में टॉक्सिक सिम्टम्स अपीयर हुई, बिकॉज इट इज एन ओवर द काउंटर ड्रग. ठीक है, और हम इसको यूजुअली यूज भी करते हैं. ठीक है, डेली बेसिस में हम इसको कोल्ड एंड फ्लू के लिए, पेन के लिए, फीवर के लिए हम इसको यूज भी कर रहे होते हैं. सो नोबडी हैज एवर थॉट अबाउट दैट दिस ड्रग कैन बी वेरी टॉक्सिक, दैट इट कैन लीड टुवर्ड दैट. So it is actually the dose that is going to decide whether you are going to experience the therapeutic effect or you are going to experience the toxic effect. Normally जो हमारे tablets available होती हैं, paracetamol, calpol, Tylenol, there are different medicines under different brand names. So different medicine आती हैं acetaminophen की. हर एक medicine में at least acetaminophen 500 milligram होती है. ठीक है, there are different brand names for the medicine that contain paracetamol. It may be alone in the medicine or there may be combination in which the drug is available. For example, paracetamol को अगर cold and flu के treatment के लिए use करना हो तो paracetamol में paracetamol होगी उस drug के अंदर. It will be containing any anti-allergic. For example, chlorpheniramine maleate. It would be containing caffeine that will manage and relax the smooth muscles. So it can occur as a single ingredient in a dosage form, or it may be accompanied with other ingredients too to provide better relief to the symptoms. However, in all the instances, we have to see that we cannot consume more than 4000 mg of acetaminophen in 24 hours. अब अगर एक ड्रग जो है, एक टैबलेट है पैरासिटामोल की, उसमें एसिटामिनोफेन 500 मिलीग्राम है, तो इसका मतलब है कि आप कितनी उसकी डोज ले सकते हो, कितनी टोटल आप टैबलेट्स ले सकते हो, 500 को आप मल्टीप्लाई कर लें, ठीक है, यू कैन टेक 8 टैबलेट्स मैक्सिमम, not in a single time, in 24 hours 8 tablets can be taken safely. But if these 8 tablets are taken at the same time, then you are going to experience the toxic effects. In 24 hours, by dividing the dose, we can experience the therapeutic effect. But if the drug, the whole dose for the day is taken at the same time, it would be leading to toxic effect. Even if in the divided doses, ड्रग की टोटल जो कंसंट्रेशन है वो 4000 mg से ज्यादा हो जाती है 24 आवर्स में, ऑल्दो आपने 2-4 घंटे की ब्रेक दे के ली, 2 टैबलेट्स, but if the total quantity exceeds 4000 mg, it would be leading to what toxic effects. और इसका मोस्ट प्रोमिनेंट जो इफेक्ट अपीयर होता है, जहां से हमें अंदाजा हो जाता है कि पर्सन ने पैरासिटामोल ज्यादा ले ली हुई है, इट इज द लिवर फेलियर, ठीक है। तो इसकी बहुत प्रोमिनेंट सिम्टम होती है पैरासिटामोल पॉइजनिंग की, लिवर सिरोसिस और लिवर डिजीज, लिवर फेलियर। पर्सन अपीयर्स टू बी येलो, उसके स्लाइवा, उसकी स्क्रीशंस बॉडी की, उसका एक्सक्रीटा, इवन द आईज, स्किन कलर, एवरीथिंग इज येलो. It is due to the liver failure and accumulation of bilirubin as a result. So everything appears to be the yellow, in yellow color. And what I was going to tell you is that if in certain region of the world, specifically in Pakistan, paracetamol is available over the counter. इसके लिए prescription की जरूरत नहीं होती. So what people do is they also use this drug for poisoning, intentional poisoning. So there are different reports in the literature that show that even this drug is used for suicidal attempts. ठीक है, तो आप देख सकते हैं 8 से ज्यादा टैबलेट्स के बाद वैसे ही लिवर फेल हो जाएगा and person is not able to survive. So what is the single dose for that you can use at one time? It is 500 mg to 650 mg. तो आप एक दफा में 500 mg ले सकते हैं. If you see that you are not experiencing the analgesic or antipyretic effect, even you can take 2 tablets at the same time. So maximum जो आप single time dose ले सकते हैं वो है 1000 mg, minimum 500 mg. So from 500 to 1000 mg is safe for single time. This dose can be repeated every 6 hours. यानी आप पूरे दिन में हर 6 घंटे के बाद, अगर पेन बहुत ज्यादा है, फॉर एग्जांपल किसी की सर्जरी हुई है, ठीक है, एंड ही और शी नीड पोस्ट ऑपरेटिव पेन मैनेजमेंट, इन दैट केस एक सिर्फ टैबलेट से पेन मैनेज नहीं हो पाती, वी मैनेज इट बाय गिविंग द ड्रग एट रेगुलर इंटरवल्स, यानी हर 6 या हर 4 घंटे के बाद. तो अगर आपने डोज हर 4 घंटे बाद देनी है तो 650 दें वन टाइम, एंड आफ्टर 4 आवर्स 650 अगेन, फिर 650, फिर 650. If dose is to be regulated at 6 hour interval, so you can give 2 tablets at the same time and repeat the dose after every 6 hours. Maximum single dose, जैसे कि मैंने आपको बताया, आप 2 tablets ले सकते हैं 1000 mg total. And जो पूरे दिन की डोज है, it would be 4000 milligram. Now, this dose is calculated for the patients who are either 13 years old or they are more than 13 years old and their weight is more than 50 kg. For people who have less weight, who are malnutritioned या जिनका weight कम है, उनकी जो हमारे पास डोज आती है, it is not, they are not given the standard dose. They are given dose by calculation. तो हम उनका weight निकालते हैं, उनका weight determine करते हैं, and by weight we calculate their dose. For example, for a person who is less than 13 years old and he or she has less than 50 kg body weight, for that person, if we want to administer the dose every 4 hours, we will be giving him 12.5 milligram per kg body weight drug in single एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन. एक टाइम पे आप उसको इतनी ड्रग देंगे. अब फर्ज करें पर्सन का वेट 30 kg है, तो आप क्या करेंगे, आप 30 को मल्टीप्लाई कर देंगे 12.5 से, वट एवर डोज इज ऑब्टेन्ड आप ड्रग लेंगे, उसको पाउडर करेंगे और वे करके उसको उतनी ड्रग एडमिनिस्टर कर देंगे पेशेंट को, ठीक है। सो फॉर पेशेंट दैट हैव लेस बॉडी वेट और दोज हु आर इन्फेंट्स, दोज हु आर यंगर, दे रिक्वायर डोज एडजस्टमेंट, और उनके लिए हमें डोज, रेगुलेटेड डोज देनी पड़ती है कैलकुलेट करने के बाद. वी कांट गिव देम स्टैंडर्ड डोज, okay, because their body is not capable of metabolizing such a high dose, and it would lead toward the side effect even at the standard dosing. Okay, so this is the background of paracetamol. Chemicals and solvents needed, I have already mentioned here. Equipments are also mentioned. They are same as for the penicillin, as for the acetyl salicylic acid, because the reaction is same. हम acetylation ही करने जा रहे हैं. So most of the raw materials and equipments, they are all same. Even the instrument used for this purpose, they're also same. And his plan of work, we are going to plan the work in the same way as we have done for the acetyl salicylic acid. First of all, we will be preparing the reaction mixture. Then we are going to react all the ingredients in order to synthesize acetaminophen. Then we will recrystallize it. I told you already, recrystallization is for purification purposes. Then we are going to determine the percentage yield of the product. We are going to determine the purity of the product by melting point determination and TLC. And then we are finally going to confirm the addition of the acetyl group by chemical tests. So the plan of work is same because the reaction used to prepare the drug is also similar. Starting with methodology, chemical synthesis, आप बिल्कुल उसी तरह से एसिटाइलेशन करेंगे जैसे हमने एस्पिरिन बनाने के लिए की थी, सैलिसिलिक एसिड की एसिटाइलेशन. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल वी विल टेक पैरामाइनोफिनोल. It is 6 grams of paraminophenol that are taken in a conical flask. Then we slowly add acetic anhydride into the flask, followed by addition of deionized water in it. Upon addition of every reagent, we are going to mix the content. Okay, so after adding deionized water, we are going to mix it either by using stirrer or by using hot plate magnetic stirrer. Then we are going to place this flask on a water bath with constant stirring until all the contents are dissolved. That is paraminophenol, acetic anhydride, and deionized water, they are going to get dissolved. Once they are dissolved, we will continue the heating at this temperature at which the dissolution takes place. We will continue heating for 10 minutes. We will remove the flask afterwards and we will allow the contents to cool at room temperature. इसका मतलब ये बिल्कुल नहीं आपने फ्लास्क हटाई और डायरेक्ट उसको आइस बाथ में रख दिया, नहीं, आपने उसको पहले रूम टेम्परेचर तक कूल हो लेने देना है. उसको अपनी बैक ऑफ द हैंड जो होता है आपने लगा के देखना है इफ इट इज टॉलरेटेबल और नॉट. सो 5-10 मिनट की कूलिंग के बाद टेम्परेचर फ्लास्क का नॉर्मल आ जाएगा, रूम टेम्परेचर तक आ जाएगा. देन यू आर गोइंग टू प्लेस द सेम फ्लास्क, यू आर नॉट गोइंग टू ऐड द कंटेंट इनटू एनी अदर थिंग. ओके, यू आर गोइंग टू प्लेस द फ्लास्क इन द आइस कोल्ड वाटर बाथ. आप उसको एक ऐसे जार में रख देंगे जिसमें बर्फ भरी हुई है. सो ड्यू टू दिस टेम्परेचर द क्रिस्टल्स आर गोइंग टू बी फॉर्म्ड. Allow the crystal to form by standing the flask in the ice cold bath for 15 minutes. Then you are going to filter the contents. If you observe that the precipitates of the acetaminophen, they are colored, no problem. We can remove this color by recrystallization. And this color, pink or orange color of the acetaminophen may be due to unreacted paraminophenol. Okay. Recrystallization. So once the acetaminophen crystals are obtained, their precipitates are obtained, we will transfer these precipitates into a conical flask, and we are going to add 50 milliliters of 50% aqueous methanol in it. Okay, and this step is done this process is done in 2 steps. Okay, first of all, we are going to take the flask and add 50 ml of 50% aqueous methanol into it. We are going to add pieces of glass into the flask. There is we have not added precipitates into the flask yet. First of all, there is a flask containing 50 ml of 50% aqueous methanol. We are going to add pieces of glass in it so that during heating, the ethanol, it does not cause bumping. Okay, liquid bahir nahi aaye. We will gently heat the solvent. We can use water bath or directly on the hot plate. So once this recrystallization solvent is ready, it is hot, we are going to add 10 ml or 20 ml of the recrystallized solvent in the flask which contains the precipitate. And again, we are going to do it stepwise. First of all, we will add 5 ml of the recrystallization solvent. We will heat the contents a little bit. Then we will add the other 5 until it reaches 20 ml. तो हम ये सारा steps, ये जो सारा process है, we will perform it in different steps. हम एकदम से recrystallization solvent add नहीं करेंगे. We will add it add mix until all the contents are completely dissolved. Then we will remove the flask from the heating source, allow the contents to come to room temperature, and we will place this flask again in the ice cold water bath and allow to stand for 15 minutes. This will result in producing white or colorless precipitates of acetaminophen. We will filter the contents and we are going to get the pure precipitates. We can repeat the process of recrystallization if the precipitates are colored. ठीक है, अगर वो colored ही रहे, so we can even repeat the process of recrystallization twice or thrice. Once the precipitates are obtained, we will transfer them into a pre-weighed watch glass, and we will let them dry in an oven at low temperature, like 40 degrees centigrade, for 1 hour. Then we are going to determine their weight, that would be W2. From the weight of the watch glass and weight of the watch glass plus precipitate, we are going to determine the weight of the precipitate. Sorry, यहाँ पे acetyl salicylic acid है बेटा, इसको करना है आपने weight of acetaminophen. Weight of acetaminophen equals W2 minus W1. तो आप W2 लिखेंगे, which is the weight of watch glass plus precipitate minus weight of watch glass. So it is going to give you the value of the weight of the product acetaminophen. Then we are going to determine the percentage yield. Formula is same, practical yield over theoretical yield multiplied by 100. We are going to determine the melting point. Again, the process is same. Take very small amount of the solid in the capillary tube and observe its melting point by using paraffin oil bath or digital melting point operators. You are going to repeat this melting point determination procedure thrice, and then you will calculate the average melting point. Then you're going to perform TLC. For TLC, again, the process is same as we have done for aspirin. You have to take synthesized acetaminophen, you have to take a reference acetaminophen, and you have to take the raw material, para-aminophenol. You will dissolve them in acetone, and you will keep their solution separated. You will cut the aluminum plate first, draw the baseline and the solvent front. You will apply the spots, let them dry, and then place this TLC plate into the chromatographic jar, which is saturated with the mobile phase. So mobile phase for acetaminophen is ethyl acetate 10 ml and 2 drops of concentrated ammonium hydroxide. So we will develop the plate using this mobile phase. Once this mobile phase reaches to the solvent front, we are going to take out the plates and we are going to let them dry in the air, after which we will visualize them in the UV light. तो यूवी लाइट के नीचे आपको पैरासिटामोल का स्पॉट जो है वो डे लाइट में नजर नहीं आएगा, ठीक है, बिकॉज इट इज कलरलेस. आपको यूवी लाइट के अंदर ऑफ कोर्स इसके पर्पल कलर के स्पॉट्स नजर आएंगे. यू विल कंपेयर द स्पॉट्स of the synthesized acetaminophen with the reference acetaminophen, and there should not be the traces of para-aminophenol in the synthesized acetaminophen. So synthesized acetaminophen में there should only be one spot which should be having same RF value as for the reference acetaminophen. और para-aminophenol जो है वो इसमें unreacted synthesized acetaminophen में उसका spot नजर नहीं आना चाहिए. This will indicate that the reaction was complete. Finally, we will perform the qualitative chemical test, and the chemical test used here is carbalamine test. So since the para-aminophenol and acetaminophen, if you compare their structure, you can see पैरामाइनोफिनोल में अमाइनो ग्रुप भी है अवेलेबल और फिनोल ग्रुप भी है. तो पैरामाइनोफिनोल दो तरह के टेस्ट पॉजिटिव देगी, अमाइनो ग्रुप के और फिनोल ग्रुप के. If you look at the structure of acetaminophen, so acetaminophen में the amino group is now acetylated. Amino group के साथ acetyl group लग गया हुआ है. So amino group is not going to give test, positive test. Well, if you are performing the qualitative test for the presence of phenol, the result would be positive. So the differentiating qualitative test for this type of the drug molecule is carbalamine test, क्योंकि हम इसी तरह डिफरेंशिएट कर सकते हैं बिटवीन द प्रिकर्सर एंड द फाइनल प्रोडक्ट, कि हम देख लें कि अमाइनो ग्रुप प्रेजेंट है कि नहीं सिंथेसाइज प्रोडक्ट में, और प्रिकर्सर में वो प्रेजेंट होगा ही होगा. What you are going to do is you are going to take 0.2 gram of the raw material, synthesize acetaminophen and reference acetaminophen in different test tubes. You are going to add 1 ml chloroform in the test tube. Even you can dissolve them in ethanol. Okay, no need to add chloroform only. Agar chloroform nahi ho, you can dissolve them in any organic solvent. For example, you can dissolve them in acetone, you can dissolve them in ethanol, methanol, etc. So you are going to dissolve them in 1 ml solvent, mix until all the contents are dissolved. Then you're going to add 2 ml of potassium hydroxide, alcoholic potassium hydroxide. Foul smell of isocyanide. Okay, the isocyanide that are formed due to the methylene part of the chloroform being condensed with the free amino group. The resulting isocyanate, it has very putrid smell, it has very foul smell. So the foul smell of isocyanate will indicate the presence of amines, aromatic amines. Now you can see that the precursor para-aminophenol, it has free amino group available. Okay, look at the structure of this precursor. It has amino group available. So if we are going to treat this with the chloroform and potassium hydroxide, what is going to happen? The chloroform's methylene part, CH2 carbene, it is going to add over here, and the resulting cyanide will produce smell. In case of paracetamol or acetaminophen, the amino group is not available for formation of isocyanide. Therefore, paracetamol will not give positive test for the presence of amines, while the para-aminophenol will. तो यहाँ से आपको अंदाजा हो जाएगा कि N-acetylation हो गई है या नहीं. Then comes the theoretical yield. We know that 1 mole of para-aminophenol is going to react with 1 mole of acetaminophen to produce 1 mole of acetaminophen. The molar mass of para-aminophenol is 109. It means 109 gram of para-aminophenol produce 151 gram of acetaminophen. 6 gram, that is the quantity we have used. 6 gram will produce 151 divided by 109 multiplied by 6. So it is 8.31 gram. So the practical yield, sorry, this is, okay. The theoretical yield is 8.31. Practical yield would be the weight of the precipitates. You're going to divide practical yield by 8.31 multiplied by 100, and you're going to get the theoretical yield. Now, this is the physical properties chart. The physical properties of para-aminophenol and acetaminophen are quite related. Both are solids. The color of para-aminophenol is usually colorless if we have stored it in a very airtight jar to prevent oxidation. However, if the product is, or if the raw material is reddish yellow, it is due to the oxidation of para-aminophenol, okay, because of the oxidation caused by air in the para-aminophenol. So we can say that the color of para-aminophenol may be colorless to reddish yellow, light orange type. Odor, it is odorless. Solubility, it is insoluble in water. And it is soluble in most of the organic solvents such as dimethyl sulfoxide, ethyl acetate, and acetone. Its melting point is 187.5 degrees centigrade. In case of acetaminophen, acetaminophen is a solid. Its color is white or colorless. It is odorless, एंड इट इज पार्शियली सॉल्युबल इन वाटर. ठीक है, वाटर में ये थोड़ा बहुत डिसॉल्व होती है, but the best solvent for dissolving acetaminophen is sodium hydroxide. So we dissolve it in basic solutions, or we can also dissolve it in ethanol, acetone, and ethyl acetate. The melting point of acetaminophen, it is 169. So this is all about the instructions of the practical. हमने पैरासीटामोल क्यों बनाई, कैसे बनाई, और हमने उसका क्वालिटेटिव एनालिसिस कैसे किया. नाउ वन क्वेश्चन आई एम गोइंग टू गिव यू, और जिसका आपने आंसर कॉपीज के ऊपर लिखना है. इट इज दैट you see the structure of para-aminophenol, which is the precursor of acetaminophen. It contains NH group as well as OH group. Now acetylation can take place at NH group too, and also it can take place at hydroxyl group. यानी जो एसिटाइलेशन है वो थायोल ग्रुप में भी होती है, अमाइनो ग्रुप में भी होती है, और हाइड्रोक्सिल ग्रुप में भी होती है. Why acetylation here is taking place at N terminal, not the hydroxyl terminal? तो आपने इसका जस्ट सिंगल लाइन आंसर है, इसके 2 पॉइंट आंसर है. आपने इस आंसर को कॉपी में जरूर लिखना है. इट इज वाइवा बॉस क्वेश्चन. ठीक है, तो आपने जहां पे आप पूरा प्रैक्टिकल नोट डाउन कर लें, कंप्लीट कर लें, राइट करना. आपने लास्ट 1-2 लाइंस में लिखना है व्हाई एन एसिटाइलेशन टेक्स प्लेस कंपेयर टू ओ एसिटाइलेशन. ठीक है, और अगर समझ नहीं आएगी तो फिर आपने मुझे बताना, फिर मैं आपको उसका 1 पॉइंट आंसर जो है वो बता भी दूंगी. अभी आप लोग अपनी अटेंडेंस मार्क करना शुरू करें, एंड यू कैन सी द इंस्ट्रक्शन इन द गूगल क्लासरूम. मैं वहां पे मॉडिफाई करके दोबारा अपलोड करती हूँ, जहां पे एसिटाइल सैलिसिलिक एसिड लिखा है वहां से रिमूव करके, एंड यू कैन लीव द क्लास इफ देयर इज नो क्वेश्चन. फाइजा, आप जी आ रहे बेटा?
नो मैम, मैं जीआर नहीं हूँ, लेकिन वो कभी कोई प्रॉब्लम हो तो फिर आपका नंबर नहीं है. वैसे व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप हमारा बना हुआ है.
तो बेटा आप जीआर को कहिएगा वो मुझसे कांटेक्ट करे, तो आई शेयर माय नंबर ओवर देयर, और फिर आप लोग मुझे ग्रुप में ऐड कर लें. इन केस ऑफ एनी क्वेरी यू कैन आस्क राइट अवे.
Yes, ma'am, I am GR.
हु इज जीआर बेटा? मिनाहिल?
Yes, ma'am.
नहीं,
Amna.
आमना. सो आमना बेटा अभी क्लास लीव कर जाती है, तो प्लीज आप मुझे अपना कांटेक्ट नंबर जो है वो इधर ही क्लासरूम के अंदर, इधर चैट बॉक्स में अपना नंबर भेज दें, तो मैं सेव करके आपको मैसेज करती हूँ.
Okay, ma'am.